not that bad. Hi guys, I am Rachel Hofstetter, aka Valkyrie. I've been a live streamer for 11 years now. We are doing a presentation, well, Squeex is.
Great.
He's gonna be doing a presentation for you guys, and let's get right into it since we're running late.
How's it going, by the way, guys? You doing good? Well, get ready to freaking learn. Who am I? Why should we even listen to you? Hello, I'm Squeex, also known as Squeex, and I went to University of California, Davis, graduated in economics, and I worked in different financial fields, specifically wealth management, fintech, and more, and had a little bit of a career stint as a speech and debate coach. Now, why is it important to include the background before streaming? Because all of these skills can coalesce into whatever creative field that you go into. I started streaming in 2013, and I started with this game, Outlast. With a show of hands, does anyone know Outlast? Okay, gamers in here, by the way, good for you. I remember I went live to stream to my friends. For some reason, in my first stream, I got 20 viewers. And I was so nervous, I ended stream. I was like, yeah, hell no. So I got a bit of stage fright. From 2013, I started on and off streaming. Hi.
I just wanted to say, how did you overcome your stage fright?
Oh, it's a great question. Thanks so much for asking. It's just that we have a Q&A policy after, so it's, I'll address that later. No, it's a great question, thank you. Well, no, I got over my stage fright by just showing up every day and trying to be funnier and funnier until I developed enough self-confidence to eventually speak in front of students, which is great. But yeah, no, I just kept doing it. I had really a concurrent viewership of 3 for years and years. And I'm talking about Stream Elements, my mod, and my friend. So it took like 4 years for me to start getting traction until I started speedrunning Super Mario 64. Now, the real gamer test. Super Mario 64. Any fans? Ooh. Okay, more. Okay, great. So I started speedrunning Super Mario 64, and now I'm a full-time variety streamer, which is amazing, and I love it. And so my goal with the presentation today is to hopefully try to give you some off-the-beaten-path advice from what I've learned. But first and foremost, before I even continue, the #1 aspect to be a streamer is luck. If I was in this class, I'd be sitting and being like, it's like listening to someone who won the lottery saying, buy lotto tickets, because that's what it often comes off, and it is luck, but there are certain things that I've learned on my path of streaming to very little people, streaming to a little bit more, and then streaming to a lot more. Some of the lessons that I learned that I haven't seen on the internet, so it's the exclusive drop. Why the hell did I start with Mario 64? Look at this ugly game. Look at that on the right. Nobody wants to watch that. It's something that I learned very early was in any business or anything creative, I think you have to ask yourself, like, what is your elevator pitch for your stream? So specifically with Mario 64, I thought something that I could utilize was, you know, I love comedy, I love humor, I love doing stupid jokes. And I didn't see that being represented in the category of Mario 64. I found Mario to be the perfect background game while like I just say random stuff. On TikTok, I think you guys will notice, there's a lot of videos that have like Subway Surfers or like, I just saw this one in the green room. This guy like pushing down jars with marbles in it until they explode. Why is that like more entertaining than anything I've ever created? It's something that is interesting to look at while you get to shine your personality or shine something that you have to say. So that's why I thought Mario 64 is a perfect start because it's a niche and also it's a great visual background to have. Oh, yeah, question right there, go ahead.
So you said you had no viewers for 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So like, how did you persevere through that?
This is gonna sound so douchey. But I never really cared about having viewers because I just liked streaming. Like I liked being funny. I think that came from you know, just doing speech and debate. You kind of have to perform to a room full of like 3 people who hate you in a school. And I think like that's sort of like the DNA that you kind of need in anything creative, whether it's art, whether it's music. If you don't like it, doing it to nobody, then why the hell would someone want to watch or experience something that you've created? Brief history of live streaming, because I think it's important. One of the first major streaming platforms was Justin TV, launched in 2007, and it started with an IRL streamer, basically, Justin Can, and he streamed his whole life, 24/7, kind of like the Truman Show. And this is what actually started gaming. Now, a lot of people say, I remember when streaming was all about gaming, the golden years. But no, actually, streaming started out as a live stream IRL that later expanded into gaming and, events, etc. And then in 2011 was the birth of Twitch. And the gaming section in Justin TV flourished so much that they made an offset that was like, okay, gaming now exists on Twitch TV. And then later, Twitch was acquired by Amazon for $970 million, which in retrospect was a great deal because there's still so many eyes on Amazon. With a show of hands, how many of you want to become a full-time streamer? Nobody except, well, quit. No, okay, wait, a show of hands, how many of you guys would like to pursue something creative?
Oh, there you go.
Okay, good. That's good, thank God. I can imagine a room full of insurance salesmen or something. I'm like, gotta get your short form content out there. No. Well, good, because I actually made this for the people who want to pursue creative fields or art. And I'm not calling streaming art, but I think like any sort of form of self-expression or any sort of creativity, there's a lot of similar advice that I would say goes into all of them. These are thumbnails. And let me tell you, there are a lot of people who want to be full-time streamers. I wanted to watch what my peers were saying, right? And it was all very similar. I don't want to call them garbage, they're not garbage, but they had some good advice. I went into this thinking like I'm gonna hear the worst advice ever, but holy shit, I learned a couple things here. So here are the common stream tips. I'm gonna speed run through this because I think this is like, everyone has this advice. Consistency, streaming on a schedule. Now I know none of you want to be streamers except for Fusli? Okay. But I would say the same thing with anything. Like, a lot of art or creativity has to be scheduled because, like, you know the term writer's block? For an output, I feel like it's essential every day to sit there with a blank piece of paper, with a blank canvas, and really try to just think about what to make. Even the process, even if there's nothing that's put on pieces of paper, just the process of thinking of what to output is extremely helpful for when you eventually have that spark of inspiration. So consistency is essential, especially in the broadcasting space. Talk even when nobody is watching. This is what I'm talking about, like I touched on before. Narrating your thoughts, decisions, and reactions are also important because how many of you have like clicked a stream or watched a YouTube video and the guy's just not talking? It's like almost like, I feel like creepy, like spying on this guy playing a game. Do not obsess over metrics. So this is a big one. A lot of the advice that I saw from the slide before, those thumbnails, a lot of them said to like set goals, follower goals, sub goals, subscriber goals. And I find that to be extremely vapid, not because it's like anything materialistic, rather because what if you don't meet that goal? You're gonna quit? I just find that to be like, it's so on the surface and you have to ask yourself deeper questions of like, why the hell do you even wanna make something in the first place? Like, what's the real goal? Like, what creative itch are you scratching with it? That should be enough. It should be sort of an intrinsic thing because if it's extrinsic, things go wrong, you're not gonna hit your metrics, and if you give up, that's it, story over. A lot of people say stream less, create more. Make YouTube and TikTok clips. Twitch has no discovery. TikTok is everything. Let's freaking go. What are we doing when we're home alone? We're scrolling the reels. We're scrolling TikTok. That's where you people just get discovered nowadays, so. Pick a lane. Oh, question.
Did you get discovered on TikTok?
Yeah. So I have a weird one because, as I said, I got extremely lucky, specifically because I played a niche, which is Mario 64 speedrunning, and a lot of other big streamers started watching me and started talking about me on their stream. And then the TikTok came later, which people just started creating TikToks for me. And I was like, all right, I still don't understand it. Yeah, go ahead.
Are you the owner of the channel Squeex Daily?
As of 3 days ago, yeah.
Oh, really?
Squeex Daily is part of the main channel, that's right. So yeah, so like all these people, but that's what I find is like the best growth is organic. Like people will make stuff if it's interesting, And then if you can capitalize on that by like giving them more fuel and like help support the creative team behind it. But I got extremely lucky because people started watching, the big streamers started watching me. Ludwig wanted to race me in Mario, which was big for me. And then I played Grand Theft Auto roleplay as Vivek Ramaswamy or whatever. But so there was just a bunch of peaks. I was like, whoop, whoop. Also, an important one. Make genuine friends. I hate the term networking, especially if you're doing something creative. Like the term networking is so sociopathic. It's like a transaction, like we're aliens. Actually like the people that you're interacting with, and it's all tides, raise the ship. Because it's so obvious to people when people hate each other. It's so apparent, and it comes off as forced or something weird. So make genuine friends. You have a common interest. Yeah.
What happens when you're playing a game with people that you think are gonna be your friends, but then you realize that you actually don't like them mid-game? Has that ever happened to you, and how do you handle that?
Yeah, well, it actually has happened to me during Counter-Strike recently. No, I'm just kidding. No. What happens is you have to end the broadcast and make some decisions. We're gonna be a little more strict with who we're queuing up with next time. If you're like, oh, I'm getting a viewership boost or whatever, so I'll keep faking it or whatever, it just becomes a drag. Good audio. Anyway. What I think makes a good streamer. What's uncommon? What do people not talk about in creative fields? What is, some things that I found underrepresented from the research I did online. Lesson 1, develop a unique perspective. If your stream is the same gameplay, same reactions, same commentaries, viewers don't have a reason to watch you. With the show of hands, what are you guys hoping? You all raised your hand for creative field. Like what kind of stuff do you guys hope to get into? Game dev.
We are in the NYU Game Center.
Oh my God. Well, that makes sense. And here I'm like, do you know Outlast? And you guys are like, yeah. Mario 64. What is your unique perspective? I think that still counts in terms of game design, because if you live in game design or you live in streaming and you don't do anything else, then you end up making your product be about the process of making a product. I see it in everything. How many of you have seen comedians talking about comedy? How many of you have seen streamers talking about streaming? It becomes this cyclical process where you lose your unique perspective. What makes your game representative of your life's collective experiences? That's what I think is extremely important, is really spend time in the real world and experience things. Go to things you hate. Go see music concerts, because all of this will coalesce into what you think. I think that is, there's a lot of games out there that I think are good representatives of this. I saw Moon yesterday playing Stanley Parable. And that's another great example of someone who was new to the scene, created a game that was almost a criticism of other games veiled in a good gameplay. So I just think that it's a good call out to develop your own story a little bit here. The goal isn't to be like your favorite streamers, but to be recognizably yourself. Especially in art or game development, I'm sure. You have like a favorite game, right? And it sneaks its way into small decisions that you make early on. But eventually, the goal should be to find your own unique voice. It's no shame into copying, but eventually, you'll pick your favorite parts of it and make your own voice. Same thing with streaming. Lesson 2, become a storyteller. Every great story has a clear goal, chapters, narration, and emotional moments. What's the clear goal in streaming? What are we doing today? What is the point of me watching this from start to finish? Same thing in game design. What is the point? Is this just gonna be endless? Like, what's the main character's goal? What's the game mechanics end result? Like, is there a clear path to mastery in this game? What's the story beyond the narration? When people hear goal setting, they want to say, okay, I'm gonna beat all of Mario Party minigames in one sitting. But where's the story? Where's the failure? Where's the emotional turn? How many attempts is it gonna take, etc.? This is important. Chapters. Is it even possible to do this in one sitting? The chapters are where the meat of the story is. And then you also have to be good at narration. And this is especially true in game design. Without the ability to explain why the hell things are going on, it's hard to have an emotional resonance with the character. You know, yesterday was the PlayStation State of Play, and there's so many trailers where it cuts to a character being like, never tell me the odds, or anything is possible. I'm like, what the f are you talking about? What's going on? Where's the emotional resonance? Walk the player through. It's sad when Mufasa dies in Lion King because Simba spent so much time with him that you can build that emotional bridge in your head. You start overlaying your own relationships to this. It's the same thing in anything, like in streaming. I want to see the streamer's thought process, and I want to feel the same thing that the streamer is feeling. And that leads into emotional moments. Tensions, frustrations, excitements, and celebrations. With a story, viewers can get more invested, chat engages more, and wins feel bigger, and losses mean a lot more. I'm not even just talking about the story of a game. I'm talking about what's the story of playing this, the story behind the mechanics. Why is this important? And stuff like that is really hard questions to sit down and think about, but I think is extremely important. Lesson 3, understand your strengths. And I've done this, let me tell you. Copy what other people are doing. Raise your hand if you've seen like 100 Mr. Beast thumbnails on YouTube. Everyone's got one. It's so easy to make one because it's successful, it works. What's their energy like? I'm gonna copy that. What's their humor like? That's mine now. I'm gonna copy their game, and I'm gonna make the exact same video. And it works, that's the problem. But beyond that, what is your unique perspective? And oftentimes, actually what I've learned is doing the opposite of what people are doing actually causes real long-term growth. And that goes back into like your whole life experience. What are you able to give to the audience that they can't get anywhere else? Really being self-critical and understanding your strengths as a storyteller, as someone with a perspective, can lead to a lot of growth in any creative medium. Also, when you're analyzing other creators, you can be like, you can really sit down and say, what makes them, what's their unique perspective? It's a good exercise. What makes a game good? That's a hard question. It's easy to be like, well, the story is a 7.0 and the graphics are, but like, think about it. What perspective are they trying to share? For streamers, it's like, oh, this is a really good representation of someone high energy and chaotic. Someone who's calm and relaxing. One of the terms that I hate is, you seem like someone who'd be a good streamer. Because it's like, anyone can be a good streamer. Like when you think of a streamer, you probably think of someone super high energy and loud and wacko crazy, but there's also room for someone quiet, reserved, good at games. But the question is, what can you specifically do well? What is your natural inclination? The more authentic you are and more genuine you are, funny enough, the audience starts growing. Question.
How do you figure out what you naturally do well, though?
That's a great question. That's a really good one. I think like by being self-critical. You have to have a really good barometer, and it leads perfectly.
But what about, you said after stream, but what about if I never streamed before?
If you never streamed before, well then you have to bring your life's experience to it. I have a theory that everyone has something that's worthy of sharing, and whether that's, you might think my life is so boring and my whatever, and that might be true, but I think there's certain things that are worth sharing. My life is boring. There are things that you can relate to people that other people can't. And I think, at least in terms of comedy, a lot of people get famous in comedy by being super relatable. They'll say relatable things and it makes people laugh. But then they get to a point of success where they start becoming way less relatable. I don't want to hear Jerry Seinfeld on a private plane. Like, I want to hear him at the grocery store. I want to hear him at things that, experiences that I can share and laugh at. So I think like remaining relatable and playing into whatever your experiences are specifically is where we get to harness your strengths. And it's a great question because it leads perfectly into my last and final lesson. Filtering feedback. This is a hard one. Look for patterns, not individual opinions. One person complaining is noise. Many people saying something similar is a signal. In terms of live streaming, and I'm sure game design too, everybody's got something to say. This doesn't work, this drags, the story is bad, the mechanics are boring. It's the same thing in streaming. But what you also have to factor in, and is extremely hard for creative people, is the silent warrior. The guy who plays your game, not gonna say anything bad, but enjoys parts of it, but can't verbalize what he enjoys. Who's gonna be your most vocal critic is the chat room. But you have to factor in 90% of people who consume your content do not want to voice their opinions because they just have you on while they're answering Slack messages, studying for a test, doing homework. So catering to that small vocal percentage actually is a net negative. And it's actually better to ignore what people are saying to you constantly, which is crazy sounding, but it's true because you have to be very honest with what is their motive. I'll give you an example. TTS. Do you guys know what TTS is? Basically, during your stream, someone can donate and things will be said out loud. A lot of chatters say, we need TTS. I want to talk to you. I gotta tell you what I think. I gotta be mean to you. I gotta be whatever. But you also have to factor in, what are the quiet people thinking? When you're watching a live stream, do you want some random guy to interrupt and say, hey, bad hairline? I don't think so, right? Because you're just having it as second monitor. So I think you just have to be honest. Protect your direction. If you change your content based on every suggestion, your stream will become inconsistent and your identity, your unique perspective becomes weaker. I want to draw a distinction between Twitch chatter feedback and the silent warrior, who I always picture watching my stream. In conclusion, streaming success doesn't come from the perfect gaming setup, but you want to build something people want to come back to. And in terms of game dev, there has to be a reason that people don't just play your game and are like, yeah, that was fun, I'm going to refund it within 2 hours. No, they've got to come back. And I really strongly believe these 4 things help people not just follow a story, but follow a journey, which is becoming a storyteller, understanding your strengths, having a unique perspective, and the ability to filter feedback and to really self-analyze. Thank you.